I went to see a movie today, and it made me want to make movies all the more. But probably not in the way that the makers of the film would have hoped. We'll discuss right after the opening credits. I don't have a lot to say about my own film project, which is not something I want to be saying 14 weeks into this year, but it's the reality. So what I want to do today is kind of ramble, which is nothing new compared to some of the past episodes, but I want to ramble on just something that has come into my head after going to the movies today. And this is not going to be a film review of a specific film, but I saw The Woman in the Yard, I think. I keep getting the title wrong. The Lady in the Grass, the Woman in the Garden. I think everything but the correct title has come out of my mouth several times over the past few days. But this film came out, The Woman in the Yard, and I'm not into horror films in the sense that of the films that are horrific, meaning blood and guts and gore, and I don't care for the disgusting ones. I like a good creepy film, a good suspenseful film, and I also like going into such a film knowing practically nothing. My ideal film experience is I know a title and a genre, and I walk in blind. I almost walked into this one completely blind. I knew one image, a woman shrouded in black, sitting in somebody's yard, sitting in the grassy area of a piece of farm property. So I thought, okay, and it's by Blumhouse. Blumhouse has a decent reputation. They're still hit and miss, but they have a decent reputation for at least putting thought and effort into their freaky films. So I thought, okay, I'll go see this. I will start with this. It was competently made. I have no criticism of the directing, the acting, editing, sound, music, etc. My one I don't even have a criticism. Well, I will say this on the acting. They found I was particularly impressed by the teenage boy. There are so many productions that just miss when it comes to the teenagers. I think you have a country full, you have a nation full of people. Put out a casting call and find the right person. What did I just finished season 1 of Under the Dome, and it got so bad by the end. The writing, the acting, and the convoluted plot. I am not watching seasons 2 or 3. I hear the book by Stephen King is really tight, is really good. And I say tight even as it expands into 2 volumes, but nevertheless still really good. I haven't read it, so I can't verify that. But I will say that Under the Dome as a TV series was interesting. Season 1 was 13 episodes. Was interesting for about 6. And then I sensed it coming. I thought, here it comes. They're going to do the well, let's expand. We've got a TV series. This is not a movie where we have to be careful and condense it and craft everything to make the most efficient use of our time. We've got time. Let's expand it. And they just started giving way too much screen time to characters I didn't care about. And by the end of the 13th episode, frankly, there was no one I cared about. Not even the people I'm supposed to care about. There's an obvious villain. There are obvious sympathetic characters. And by the end, I just dropped my microphone thing. I hope I didn't put a lot of audio pop in there. Anyway, by the end of season 1 of Under the Dome, there's nobody I care about. There's nobody in it. Nobody in it. Not the teenagers, not the good guy, not the good woman who have me saying, I want to see what happens in season 2. The whole thing was run into the ground. I've seen this in so many series. Once Upon a Time was a very promising series where a bunch of fairy tale characters end up in the modern world, kind of had their memory wiped clean by the evil queen, and they have to kind of cope and then also kind of figure out why they have memories of another life or something. It's been a long time since I watched it, but by the end of season 2, I had no interest. They beat these things into the ground. They stretch them. They beat them. They turn them into soap operas, and that's what Under the Dome became. By season 8, by episode 8 or 9, it was just soap opera. Anyway, all of that to say, and that's why I brought it up. The teenagers, bless their hearts. The teenagers were not really good actors. They did not sell me on their lines, which were poorly written anyway. The directing was poor when it came to the teenagers. I've worked with teenagers. I could get better performances out of the teenagers I've worked with than what I saw in Under the Dome. And I don't say that to be mean to the teenagers who did the acting. Everybody's got different skill sets, and some are better actors than others. And I'm sorry, dear teenagers from Under the Dome, you were cast when you shouldn't have been. Okay. So I said that because I wanted to compliment the teenager that they found for the woman in the yard. Everybody did a fine job. It was very sparse in the casting. There were 5 people, and that was it. And it was done well. My criticism is in the scripting department. The script was predictable. In the 80s and the 70s, the point of a horror film was to horrify. You had Halloween and Friday the 13th. And there may have been a little bit of purpose to it. There may have been a little social commentary. Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy Krueger was a bad man, but then he was then the victim of vigilante justice. So now he's got a vendetta of his own in the dream world. Friday the 13th. Friday the 13th was Jason at the lake. Yeah, okay. There was an underlying purpose to who was getting murdered and why. And you could say there was a teeny bit of social commentary there. Horror films today, and at first this was cool. I'm about to mildly spoil some things. The Babadook was one that was interesting, and there were some others. I've seen some short films on YouTube on the YouTube channel Alter, where what they've done now, instead of it just being some rampaging lunatic for no reason or for some supernatural reason, the Babadook and some others have actually taken the spin on it where this thing that's haunting this woman or this man or this family is a manifestation of hatred, grief, anger, a psychological problem. And so I will say this, about halfway through, maybe even earlier than halfway through, I wasn't running my watch, but there was a point in The Woman in the Yard where I went, okay, I know who this creepy woman in the yard is, and I know where this is going. I did not pin the precise spin on the end, but in part because they left it wide open. I'm just not a fan of movies that just leave it open to your interpretation. Ooh, we're supposed to, this is a film we're supposed to all, if we go as a group, then we go out for ice cream afterwards and we sit around and discuss, well, was she or wasn't she? I didn't care. I don't care. I know the big one was Inception. We're all supposed to sit around afterwards at our ice cream going, whoa, was he dreaming or not? Oh, I didn't care. Those endings just, no, you come down, you, the film director, come down on a side. Pick a side, come down on it. And if you want to shock us with it, if you want us to go, whoa, okay. If you want us to have a feeling of relief and satisfaction, you can go, whoa, okay, fine. But to leave us, it's up to you. You decide. No, that makes me just not like you. So, okay, all of that to say, The fact that it was predictable, the fact that I saw it coming, the fact that it was yet another scary film that just becomes yet another film, got me thinking about it. Because at the same time, on the same day, today, I got in the mail, where did I put it? I was going to show you the case, yeah. I got in the mail my order from Amazon because I got to thinking about this movie that I saw when I was much younger, The Incredible Shrinking Woman. It's just a silly, fun little film with Lily Tomlin in which she starts to shrink because her husband works for a marketing department, a marketing product department, the marketing department of a product company. And so he's always bringing home samples. His wife, Lily Tomlin, is always sampling them. So all these chemicals get in her body, and over time, it causes her to start to shrink. Okay. It's fun, it's silly, it's not even the best of the 80s, but it was an enjoyable film. And I thought, well, I'll buy it. I found it really cheap on Amazon, so I'll buy it. And I'm sure it's got some good memories. And it was still a fun film. It's got its weaknesses, the film stock of the 80s, some of the acting, some of the editing, some of the camera work. But it was better than I feared I would find it now that I was watching it as an adult. And I look at the state of filmmaking today and the state of filmmaking, what are we on now, 40 years ago? 40 years ago. Films were just so much more interesting back then. And this is not me just being nostalgic. They aren't making interesting films these days. Hollywood is not taking dares. I think of, some of my favorite films from the 80s all come from Tim Burton. Beetlejuice, Edward Scissorhands. Edward Scissorhands was, it was 89? Might have been 90. It was close enough. The 80s into the 90s. Back to the Future by Robert Zemeckis. Who Framed Roger Rabbit by Robert Zemeckis. And I could go on. I'm running out of time already. I took a long time to get to my main point. They're just cranking them out now, and they're cranking out the same film, the horror genre. They'll take this film, and they'll give it new characters in a new setting. But it's the same film. Of course, Marvel fell into that rut almost immediately after the Infinity Saga ended with Avengers Endgame. It's just another superhero film. Becomes a superhero. There's a villain over there. They fight. There might be a little philosophical discussion about the nature of vigilante justice. Spider-Man had that, and Batman had that, and it just seems like everybody wants to put that conversation into the mix. Hellboy had that in Hellboy 2. They're all becoming the same films. I went scrolling through a list of upcoming films in 2025, or scheduled releases. Just went no. Woman in the Yard slightly caught my attention. I think there was one or two others, but not movies I wanted to go see at first. I decided I was interested in them. Black Box, I think, is one. It's kind of an action film. Once people I know start talking about them, then maybe I'll get interested. But I look down this list and I just go, there's nothing. There's nothing original. Where's the next Dick Tracy? Where's the next? I should look up great films from the 80s. Where's the next Incredible Shrinking Woman? Where's the next really inventive, interesting film? I've already talked about films that I'd love to make from books that nobody's made a good film version of yet, or a film version at all. I've got ideas in my head I know would be different, if somebody were to give me a chance, but I'm going to have to earn that chance. I have no reputation with anyone who has any money or any connections anywhere. So I can't just walk in and say, "Hey, trust me, this would be a good movie. Hire me and I'll direct it." But that's kind of my goal. I've got this documentary that it will not take the world by storm because it's very niche, which I always thought was niche until I saw Michael Clayton starring George Clooney and the Sidney Pollack. Sidney Pollack says niche in that. So anyway. But once I get done with that, I want to make films that are different. And I think more of us out there should demand different. We should stop just going to the movie theater because we're bored. We should demand more. I could probably keep going, but that's my time limit. That's my Monday. It's been busy. It included a lost wallet last week. All kinds of things. Anyway, nothing worth talking about here. I'll see you next week.